Hello everyone, welcome back. My name is Kate and in this series of vlogs I'm sharing my journey to becoming financially independent by the end of this year. You're probably watching this video because you've been offered to pass an interview to get a job. First of all, congratulations, because you're just one step away from your dream job. And this video is right for you. I've gathered the most important tips and tricks for you to pass a successful interview. Let's get started. Okay, first step. Before the interview, there are certain steps that you have to follow in order to pass an interview successfully. And probably by this time, you have already prepared your resume and cover letter. These both documents are very important for the preparation for the interview. And firstly, you've already probably researched about the company to write your cover letter. Two main things that you have to understand about the company and actually learn by heart is firstly, company's cultures and values, so this information is the minimum basic that you need to know. And second, trends, news and everything that's happening currently in the company. You can do all of this research by searching in their social media platforms, in their website, and if you can see that if the company is more Gen Z, let's say, and they are using Instagram, Facebook more, then you can search one or another platform to understand their current news. Second thing, understand the role. Make sure you know the job description and the key responsibilities of the role where you're applying to. So you can align your skills, knowledge and previous background together with some skills and knowledges that they're looking for. Of course, it's important to prepare in advance. And I mean, take all the documents that you need, read the email that the employer sent you in advance. Probably they made all the instructions very clear, what to take, where you have to arrive, what time. So all of this has to be very structured for you and organized. Of course, plan how you will arrive to the venue if it's an offline interview. If it's online, then of course it's going to be a bit easier. But always be at least 10 minutes before the interview if it's offline and at least 5 minutes if it's online. Also, when you're preparing for the interview, I would recommend to practice some commonly asked questions, such as, why do you want to work with us? What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? And the employer is going to ask that for sure. They love to ask about, tell us a little bit about yourself. And you have to be prepared. I like to use the STAR method, which is a situation, task, action, and result. So by using this method, you can demonstrate your current experiences, your current skills and knowledge, and address some past experiences that you have already gone through. So prepare to answer the most commonly asked questions. You can ask the internet, or one of the most important things that I like to recommend is to ask the current employers, and maybe you have some friends who are working in the company, what kind of questions they ask them. Now, finally, when the time of the interview has arrived, whether it's offline or online, you have to follow this specific strategy. And the first thing to say is dress to impress. You have to wear a business casual or business professional at least. Of course, I would recommend if it's a corporate job to wear business tie to already let your employer know that you are professional. Because the first impression matters the most. What the employer is gonna see first, that's how he will perceive you and that's how he'll remember you. Of course, maintain the eye contact. Be as relaxed, as non-stressed as possible, because the employer is gonna evaluate how you behave during the interview. Be confident, slow down. If you need to drink water or to think, it's completely normal. And of course, communicate with no filler words such as yes, something like this. This is not very good and it just highlights that you have not enough vocabulary. So just communicate clearly, slow down and think. The most important is to remember the name of your employer or interviewer and always address him or her by their name. It's much better than asking, yes, you, something like this. So be professional and remember the name. If you've been asked a question and you are maybe a little stressed always take your time to think. You can say, sorry, let me just have 1 minute to think over it, or ask for a glass of water, which they should have already brought you in advance, but in any case. Of course, when answering the questions from the employer, be as honest as possible. Don't try to remember some questions that you try to remember by heart. Just remember the bullet points and then just be as open and as relaxed as possible. Never speak negatively about your previous workplace. Instead, you can focus on the strengths, on some skills and experiences that you have brought from the previous company. And finally, when during the interview, the employer is gonna ask you, do you have any questions for me? This is your time to shine. When the employers are asking such questions, they expect you to do your homework in advance. This will show how prepared you are and how much you actually researched and how much you remember about the company. So I recommend to put yourself in a spot if you already got the job and if you're starting tomorrow. And imagine you come and what kind of questions would you ask your manager? For example, you have done some research and you know there are some news of the company, something significant is happening, some changes in their company. So try to think over those questions and prepare them in advance. Because when the employer is going to ask this question, and he will ask that question, it's always happening. Either it's an internship or a job position, always be prepared. And finally, the interview has passed. Don't forget to show your professionalism by sending a follow-up email. It can be usually up to 24 hours after the interview. For example, you had the interview yesterday during the afternoon, you can send the email in the morning the next day, saying thank you for your time and maybe addressing some topics that you discussed during the interview. This will really show your passion and your interest in this job. With all of these life hacks and tips, you should be good to go. Thank you so much for watching this video, and if you have any questions or you need professional assistance, I'm here to help you. So contact me by Instagram and let's chat there. See you in the next video.